Hey everybody, I'm Luke here at Tom Kelly Volvo Cars. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be doing a longer form video on this here 2022 XC90 Recharge. This is an extended range. We've got it in Onyx Black. We're going to take a little bit more time with this particular unit today, and I'm going to give you a full tour of interior, exterior, powertrain, everything you want to know about it. Then after that, we're going to take it for a drive, so stay tuned for that. Let's check it out. We're going to begin up here at the front of the XC90. When this came out in 2016, everybody was talking about how good these XC90s looked, and I think even 6 years down the line, they're still looking fantastic. One of the biggest talking points on that was our Thor's Hammer headlight, which is now across our entire range. These things look fantastic. The Thor's Hammer that we refer to is this bar here in the center. That's going to be your daytime running lights as well as your turn signal during the day. And then whether you manually turn them on or it just gets dark, the actual headlights are down inside of there and they'll turn on for you. Just below that, this little port right here is going to be for our high pressure headlight cleaning. This is part of our climate package option. Just keeps your headlights clean when you get road salt and stuff kicked up on them. Down low here, this chrome bar here and our large chrome grille, that's going to be part of our inscription package. The inscription is a more sophisticated, luxurious vehicle, so we had the chrome up there just to show that off. In the center, of course, we have our Volvo iron mark. That's the chemical symbol for iron. Nobody uses more boron steel in their construction than we do. This thing is built like a tank, and this symbolizes that. Also under there, we have our forward-facing radar. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the ADAS systems, Advanced Driver Assistance. Lastly, one cool little detail on the front of our T8 models. On the right-hand side here, this is blocked off, but on the left-hand side, we have an opening going into a small radiator for cooling off our high-voltage battery. It's a cool little detail. The side profile of an XC90 also looks fantastic. It's very classic Volvo. It's got the sloping rear. It looks like what we expect XC90s to look like. Down here, the wheels. Standard is going to be a 20-inch. They're going to have a lot more spokes than this, but we opted for the optional 21-inch inscription wheels. We think they really set off the look of an XC90, and it's worth the $800 option. These are wrapped in Pirelli Scorpion Verde. They're 275 40/21s. These are excellent all-season tires. They provide tons of mechanical grip when it's dry. And as you can see, we have lots of sipes and a ton of tread there for when it gets nasty outside. Here on the side, we've got a lot more chrome for our inscription. So down low, around the door handles there, greenhouse casing, and our roof rails are all going to be chrome. On the lower bar, we're marked with Recharge, which is a good giveaway. That's a T8. Obviously, we have the charger port there as a good giveaway as well. This thing is going to have keyless entry on all four doors. So I've got the key in my pocket here. I can lock just by covering that rectangle. See, the mirror folds in to show me that it's locked, and then I can unlock just by putting my hand in the loop. You own an XC90, there's no reason to ever take the key out of your pocket. Around here at the rear, you can see there's no tailpipes anymore. Even though there is still exhaust pipes under there, they curve down, they're behind that fascia. Volvo's gonna go all electric by 2030, and this vehicle is highly electrified, so we wanted to kind of have a cleaner look back here. That satin chrome there on the bottom, that's standard on XC90s, but this shiny chrome above it is not. That's part of our inscription package again. Right here, see that little stainless steel strip? That's part of our protection package. That's going to keep your bumper from getting scarred up when you put stuff in and out. We've also got the hands-free tailgate option, so I can just kick under the bumper. It'll pop open for me. It's a really convenient feature if you're getting groceries out, putting them in, whatever. I can also close it doing the same thing. Here we have our last mark of a T8. T8 all-wheel drive Recharge. You see this badge on the back of an XC90, 60, any of our models? That's the biggest, fastest Volvo on the road. These extended range T8s, obviously we're referring to the all-electric range has been extended. We were looking at 20 before, and now we're at 35 all-electric miles. We accomplished that by adding a third layer of cells to our high-voltage battery, which lives central in the vehicle in there. That increased its capacity by 50% up to 18.8 kilowatt hours. So we're looking at 35 miles of all-electric range in this thing and 455 horsepower combined between the gas engine and the electric. Speaking of the electric motor, it is packaged very tightly in between those two wheels, otherwise I'd show it to you. That is where most of our power increase came from. Because our battery is larger, we can ask it for more current for this electric motor, so we made it bigger. Used to make 87 horsepower, and now we're looking at 143. We also had a significant increase in torque from that. The whole system used to make 472 pound-feet, and now we're at 523. You get a lot of that instant electric torque off the line, and it also helps out a lot while the transmission is changing gears. Since our battery is larger, it's affected our charge times. We still have our standard SAE J1772 charger. You'll find these all over the place, ChargePoint, Electrify America, they all have them available, so you can always plug this thing in anywhere. We're recommending for at-home charging a minimum of 240 now. The reason being, the 110 volt stuff, you can expect it anywhere 10 to 13 hours, which really isn't quick enough for most of our customers. 240 volt, you can expect 5 to 7 hours for a full charge, which is much more reasonable. Our internal combustion engines had some changes as well. Biggest thing, it previously had a belt-driven supercharger back there in the back. That has been deleted since we have the ability for all this electric power I was just telling you about. Really wasn't necessary anymore, made a lot of noise and added complexity we didn't need. Down there, there's still an exhaust gas-driven turbocharger. That's gonna help boost the output of this thing to the previously mentioned 312 horsepower. This is the same 2-liter 4-cylinder that is found in all of our Volvo models. It's extremely reliable and well-proven. When people drive an XC90 for the first time, most common thing I hear is that thing doesn't handle like you think it would after looking at it. It does weigh 5,000 pounds roundabout, but it handles its weight significantly better than what we're used to. When you look at more American third-row SUVs with a ladder frame underneath, they handle more like a truck. This is built like a car on a unibody platform, so it handles more like a car. Up front, the XC90 was the first Volvo released with double A-arm front suspension. You can see the top wishbone right there and the strut poking out behind it. What that does is gives you a little bit more confident feeling in the front end, better response, and it keeps the tire in contact with the ground more often. All of these components up here are also going to be aluminum. That reduces our unsprung weight. Again, really just helps us out with handling significantly. Rear suspension is very similar. We have a large steel cradle under there, more aluminum A-arms. This is a transverse leaf spring style. These suspension setups are available with 4C active shock absorbers and air suspension. This vehicle is just not equipped with that package. Everybody knows that Volvo is a safety company, and we have an extremely advanced driver assistance system built into the front and rear of this car. I mentioned our forward-facing radar here in the iron mark. That's going to be for adaptive cruise control and other semi-autonomous driving functions. Down here, we also have ultrasonic parking sensors. They're all over this car, front, side, and rear, help you in low speeds parking scenarios. And lastly, it's pretty common in most cars, but up there at the top center, we have our IntelliSafe system. We've got 20 plus sensors for our systems up there. Everything from our rain sensing wiper sensors, our forward-facing cameras, all sorts of stuff. One really good feature here in the rear, underneath this panel, we've got side-looking radars. So if you're pulling out at the mall or something and somebody's coming down that lane, the car is going to let you know before you back out in front of them. It's an excellent feature for parking lots. The time has come to move to the interior of the XC90. We're going to start back here in the cargo area. Pop that open. We looked in here previously for a second. As you can see, I've got enough space back here for all of our mats. This is part of the protection package Premier that I mentioned earlier. So we get fabric, rubber mats, all that kind of stuff, first aid kit. If you needed more space than what we've got right here, folding down the third row seats is super easy. You just hit this latch here and it'll fall right down for you. I would have to manually return that up when the time comes, but that's not a big deal. Third rows in almost every vehicle is going to be for smaller passengers, so access is pretty simple. You just grab this latch up here, you can lean it forward. That'll slide forward enough for people to get into the rear. But you may notice this is a 6-seater XC90, so you could simply just walk right past that and get into the third row if you're small enough. So if you got a 7-seater, you would be folding this thing forward, but a 6-seater, it's a lot easier. Last thing to mention, the 7-seater does have obviously the center bench there. That can have an integrated booster cushion, which is really good for parents who have kids and boosters. While we're talking about seats, every single seat in this car is going to be Nappa leather. It's a lot smoother than what you find in normal leather. It's fantastic. Remember earlier I mentioned the climate package? That also includes these heated rear seats. So both of these rear caftans are going to be heated back here. So you can see I'm sitting here in the second row. I have the fixed section of the pano sunroof right above me. It's a really nice view out while you're driving. And then we have the sunshade right there. You can see I could pull forward if it got too hot in here. And speaking of sunshades, we have them built into the doors. That's really nice for younger kids. Keep the sun off of them so they don't get burnt. Down low, you can see we have also tailored stitching all the way across the door panels in the second row, both sides. Moving up to the front, again, we still have our stitched door panel here, and that runs across one long uninterrupted line of stitching across both doors. It looks fantastic. We've also got Nappa leather up here, of course, but this is perforated for our ventilation on both the driver and passenger side. We've also got 3-position memory on both driver and passenger, which is really helpful if you have a lot of people driving. Before I hop in, I just wanted to show off this illuminated sill plate right here. It looks really cool. It's a nice little touch. Here in the center console, inscriptions get all this stitching that goes all the way up the entire center console. And we also get our Orifors crystal shifter. These are handmade in northern Sweden. Orifors have been making crystal goods up there for hundreds of years out of Swedish sand. It's a beautiful little piece right here. Nice touch for the interior. One last little touch here on the interior. All of our wood inlays are unfinished, so that allows me to feel the grain in this. It is real wood, and it's just a nice tactile experience when you touch it rather than it being sealed and smooth. Luxury cars obviously should be made of the nicest materials, which we've got that down for sure, but we also need to have a lot of tech. So up here, we are equipped with our advanced package. That includes our heads-up display. It's right there, that little 0 above my finger. It's tough to see inside. Then it will also get the 360-degree camera via the advanced pack. It's really cool, allows you to pick individual views. This front one is really nice for pulling into garages. So the advanced package really gets you a couple of the features that are going to be very helpful for you in your day-to-day life. You don't have to get the advanced package to get some other really cool standard features though. We've got auto high beams on the left side stock over there. We've got pilot assist semi-autonomous driving up here. We've got rain sensing wipers as standard, and of course our digital driver's display is standard. So this is going to change depending on what drive mode I'm in. I can pop a map up there if I want to see where I'm going, and I also have the ability to configure all the information across the bottom. It's really nice. Can't talk tech without talking our infotainment system, of course. Our Sensus system has been in the XC90 since 2016. That means that it has been worked through a million times and all the bugs have been smashed. It is extremely responsive and it does exactly what you want it to do every time. There's none of that starting the car and waiting for it to fire up and get ready. It is ready before you are, which is fantastic. We have all of the different features you'd be looking for, such as navigation, Sirius XM, everything you would need for media. We've also have the ability to do Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, which is a fantastic feature. It'll mirror your phone up here, makes it a lot safer while you're driving if you need to make calls or anything like that. This is our vehicle functions page. This is how we will turn on or off any of our safety features or manually get into our camera views, things like that. As you can see, there's plenty of safety features in here being a Volvo, and they're all toggleable. If any of them are bothering you, you can turn them off, and then they're also adjustable in the settings. So if your lane keeping aid is bothering you, you can turn it down to a lower activation force or higher if you want it to be more active. Very few safety systems are this configurable. The best thing about our infotainment system is simply the ease of use. It does not matter which screen I'm on. If I hit this home button right here, it'll take me back home every time. It's a very similar concept to the original iPhone with the physical home button there on the bottom, and you just go between your pages to make your different selections. They knew that most people have been using those smartphones, so going off of that is going to make it a lot easier for all users to get it. This has been voted most intuitive by Kelley Blue Book, and I think they got that right for sure. One last thing to point out on the interior, we are equipped with our Harman Kardon stereo. That's standard on our inscription models, so it's going to be on every inscription. We have a all digital amp under there, 650 watts buried under the passenger seat there. Then we have 14 speakers, and I'm going to show you all of them. Up here on the dashboard, we have a full range, so that'll do highs and lows, does everything. In the driver and the passenger door panels, we're going to have a tweeter, a mid-range, and a woofer. Come back here to the back doors. We're going to have a tweeter up here and another woofer down there. Back here in the cargo compartment, right above the third row up there in the headliner, 2 more mid-ranges, 1 on each side. And then lastly, we have an air woofer built down in there that was designed to use the entire space of the interior of this car as the box for that woofer. So you get excellent bass performance out of it. If you're wondering in your head about the Bowers & Wilkins stereo, when I get one in, I'm gonna give you guys a tour of that, but I do not have one to show you around right now. So when I get one, I'll show it off. Last thing I wanted to bring to everybody's attention real quick before we take this out for a drive is a little bit of what you get when you purchase a Volvo. Brand new Volvos all come with a 4-year, 50,000 mile bumper-to-bumper warranty on brand new cars. That's to be expected. A lot of people get really nervous about the hybrid batteries that we find in these types of vehicles. So this one is going to be covered for 8 years or 100,000 miles, whichever one comes first. So you can rest easy knowing that you're going to be covered on that type of thing. First 3 maintenances on this vehicle are going to be complimentary. So 10,000 mile, 20,000 mile, and 30,000 mile maintenances are going to be included with the purchase. So all you need to do is come in and see my service department. They'll get you taken care of on that. Lastly, we have a connected services app available for this vehicle. So you can check lock status, you can precondition the car remotely, and you can also check your charge status remotely, which is really nice when you own a vehicle like this. There's no need to go out to your garage or your driveway to check and see how charged your battery is. Pull it up on your phone and you're good. Now we've talked about all this, let's go for a drive. All right, everybody, it's time for the part that I was excited about. I don't know about you. We got her fully charged here. Our LED is all green. Go ahead and return this. Let's hit the road. Beginning here in pure drive mode. We're going to be doing some pretty low speed stuff, leaving the auto mall and headed out to the test drive route. So pure mode is going to be perfect for that. Don't know if in the video you'll be able to hear it, but I do have a really nice reverse chime in pure mode. Just not like a piece of construction equipment, more like wind chimes, I would say. Pure mode here, leaving the auto mall, it's going to be smooth and very quiet. I'm still sitting on around 150 horsepower. And of course I have my all-electric torque from a stop, which is fantastic. All right, we're pulling onto Illinois Road, still in pure mode. As you can see, as I use the brakes, my right side gauge is showing me my regenerative braking. These new extended range models have a similar to one pedal drive mode where I can put it in for increased regenerative braking and not have to use my brake pedal near as much. I'm going to cut you guys back in when we get further out on the test drive route and things are a little bit more exciting. For this type of stop and start traffic I'm in right now, The electric motor is ideal. You get silent running. I'm not having any engine noise or anything crazy going on in here. Extremely smooth acceleration. That's the biggest thing with a plug-in hybrid that we like to talk about. Is the driving experience is just a lot better than you can expect out of a gas car because of that smooth acceleration. We've got one more stoplight to go till we're on the true test drive route. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to hybrid mode so I can explain this gauge a little bit. This icon right here shows that we're using electric power, and the teardrop not being filled in shows that the gas engine is off. When I take off from this stoplight here, you'll see the white line that says ready. It's going to move toward that line. If I use the gas enough to make them meet, the gas engine will start. Going to turn right here, and as I do, I'll have a good area to accelerate, and you'll see I'll get into the gas engine here. I'm going to give a little bit extra. Now you can see that the teardrop is illuminated. Our gas engine is running up there. With both of them, I'm sitting on 455 horsepower, as I previously mentioned. The reason we recommend this test drive route at the Kelly Group is it gives you a lot of different areas and a lot of different types of driving. One big part is this big bump coming up here, these railroad tracks. I'm going to stay across them at 40. 21-inch wheels, soaked it up really, really well. Pretty happy with that. We are coming up to the more remote part of our test drive route, so I'm going to come over here and select power mode. You can see that swapped me over to a normal tachometer. The gas engine is running all the time now. We're going to get into some twisty roads here. It'll be a good example of how well this XC90 manages its own weight. The front double wishbone suspension helps keep those wheels planted on the ground. There's no hop or anything crazy. I'm going to cut right here at O'Day Road. Changing direction pretty aggressively. Doesn't feel like a 5,000-pound SUV, that's for sure. We have a right-left S-complex coming up. So dab of brakes, lean her in. Pirelli Scorpions are gripping on great for me down here. We got a lot of mechanical grip. Tarmac's really hot today, so part of our test drive route here was several stop signs. One of this one here is really good for a brake test. I'm going to brake at that big tree right there. No drama, nothing crazy. So firm press on the pedal. Between the mechanical brakes and the regenerative brakes, incredible stopping force. We're going to wait on this Camaro here. I'll do a little acceleration test. Just a little 0 to 60 sprint. Don't want to get too irresponsible. Biggest thing that you'll feel if you have driven a T8 or you plan on driving one in the future, notice while the gas engine is working up there and changing gears, you don't feel any lapse of power in that time just because the electric motor continues pushing you from the rear. Other cool thing I forgot to mention back there in the corners, this vehicle being driven from an electric motor in the rear and a gas engine up front, handles different than what others feel like. It is a very cool feeling and it really feels planted. It gives you a lot of confidence. I doubt the GoPro can hear it, but I can hear that turbo working up there, and my goodness, it's a beautiful noise. We are going to be hanging a right on Highway 30 here. For those of you who aren't from northern Indiana, Highway 30 is a little crazy at some points. Not going to get a stoplight to stop traffic. We're just going to have to jump in there. Luckily, 523 pound-feet is going to help me do that a lot. And there's highway speed, just like that. You'll remember earlier I mentioned pilot assist. Right now I'm on regular adaptive cruise control, so we're just cruising at 65. I'm in control of the steering wheel. I'm going to click the right hand button here. Little green steering wheel indicates that the car is in control, so I'll just keep my hands relaxed here, and it's going to take out all the little left rights that I would normally have to do myself. Pilot assist is a fantastic feature for long trips. As long as you stay paying attention and keep your hands on the wheel, the car is going to do most of the work for you. Really takes out a lot of the fatigue that you can find on longer trips. While we're here in slower traffic, I don't know if you'll be able to see the heads-up display there on the camera, but right now I'm seeing the speed limit, which is 55 on this section of road, and my current speed. It will also show me navigation information if I had that on. Alright, we're going to hop on to I-69 South, and we are headed back to Tom Kelly Volvo.
See, this is a perfect example of where the power of a T8 can come in handy. Getting onto the highway, I would really like to be at highway speed at the bottom of the ramp. Not likely to happen with this truck ahead of me. So extra horsepower and torque is going to allow me to pop out here and speed up to the speed of traffic a lot quicker. It's going to be safer for me and everyone else involved. Here's a good example of our blind spot monitoring as this truck passes me. And now we will just cruise all the way back home. A lot of people get hung up on the drive modes in these cars, and while the drive modes do allow you to get the most out of your car in all scenarios, if you're the type of person who doesn't really want to mess or worry about it, hybrid drive mode's for you. Volvo has designed this to be exactly what you would need from a plug-in hybrid. It's going to prioritize electric power 95% of the time, and the only way we're going to get gas power is if I cross that line like I talked about earlier. Go ahead and get off the highway here. Fun fact, our turn signal sound is the sound of a Swedish birch branch breaking. I guess at Volvo they decided that was more pleasant to listen to than just a click click. I personally 100% agree. I mentioned an increased regenerative braking mode. I'm in it now. I am not touching the brakes, and you can see I am still decelerating at quite a rate. I'm not going to need the brakes at all to come to a stop here. Just the last little bit. Most of that braking that I just felt, that deceleration, was all in our regenerative braking system. So I just recaptured a significant amount of energy into the battery. The increased regenerative braking mode is this B mode you see down here. So if you own a T8, try B mode out. All you got to do is click it down from drive to go to B mode, and then click it again to go right back to drive. Getting back to the auto mall now. The last point of view drive I did was in a Polestar XC90. I understand the camera was way too high up. I think I learned from that, and I'm sitting a little lower now, trying to make it a little bit better viewing experience for you guys. But while I got you here and I have the opportunity, I'm going to go around the long way through the auto mall and show you our new developments we've got going on. Our body shop and our car wash were both still under construction in the last video, and they are both essentially done, so I can show them off now. If you are a Kelly customer and you're watching this, free car wash, quickest way is to go straight past Menards. You avoid all the traffic and dealerships to the left. Right here is our new detail center and body shop. So if you are in an accident, God forbid, we will be able to help you out and get your car put all back together. We also do detailing and accessories sales here. If you have any questions, you can reach out to us at Volvo or 1469 Car Wash. Directly ahead of me is our brand new Kelly Car Wash. So you can see it's closed, otherwise I'd pull you through there. They go home at 6. But essentially 100% done. That is for Kelly customers only. If you've purchased a car from the Kelly Automotive Group, you get free car washes there, unlimited. Pull them back in to the promised land. There we have it, 2022 XC90 Recharge Extended Range. These are going extremely quick, the people who can get the extended range models for 22. So I wanted to get this video out to you guys with this particular unit. This video is going to stay up on our YouTube channel permanently. If you have any questions about XC90 recharges or Volvos in general, you can reach out to Luke at Tom Kelly Volvo. I'd be happy to help you out.